engines bleed. Welcome to Bobby Shed. Welcome to Bobby Shed. Talking like this in your head. Welcome to Bobby Shed. Don't go in Bobby Shed. Don't go in Bobby Shed. Talking like this in your head. Don't go in Bobby Shed.
Tony Jones and the Cretan 3, Bobby Shed here at Chuckles Crypt, Rhode Island Radio.org. I'm excited to see that they're out there practicing, and eventually they'll be back in the public's eyes, because it is a shame to see another band out there and not them. Notice I'm not giving that band any notoriety because they suck. The last six-shooter is my favorite, and why is he my favorite? Because not only is he a murderer, but he's a liar. I mean, he is the scum of the scum. This is a low-life individual that made it into the history books, and very low-life individual. Billy the Kid, that's his nickname, or you would know him in his school days as Henry McCarty. A little Irish, is he, huh? Born of New York City, nowhere near the West.
About as far from the western United States as you can get.
As far as you can get. Somehow he makes his way out to Nevada, New Mexico, and he causes havoc amongst robbing, murdering, raping, pillaging, all the good stuff a pirate would do, but
Cowboys do now.
Cowboy style.
Well, outlaw style.
And not only did he do all these things, but he lied about 90% of them. He lied so well that he convinced the public that he had killed 21 people. In reality, he had only shot 8. Now, that's still a lot, but 21's a higher number than 8. He had lied about some of the robberies he had done, where some of the towns he had said he had hit the bank up, and the people would put in the newspaper that our bank has never been robbed, so I don't know how this guy robbed us. He did rob a good majority of them, but he was a really good storyteller, to the point where he convinced the governor of New Mexico to finally, now it took him until his later years when he was 21, to finally put a bounty on his head. Because up till then, from 14 to 20, no one gave a rat's ass about this guy. And he was very insulted by this, to the point where he made up stories trying to get people's attention.
He wanted to be that cool kid.
Like, he thought killing 8 people, that's not good enough. Like, robbing this bank isn't good enough.
You know, this was a guy that was way ahead of his time. This guy belongs here now on Facebook and YouTube.
Yeah, he
really does. I mean,
and he is the one that is most depicted in comics and movies and pop culture when you say gunslingers. And he did it by lying. Bravo. Bravo, my friend. Not only were you a murderer, but you were a lying, squealing bastard about it. And don't get me wrong, eventually he did meet his end by Pat Garrett. He ended up shooting him on July 1881. So Billy the Kid didn't really have a long career being a bad guy, but one of the reasons he got called Billy the Kid is it was thought that at the age of 14, he shot and killed his uncle, his first murder. No one really cared, though, because I guess the uncle was just as big a scumbag as Billy the Kid. It was family trait.
Yeah, that's a drawback. You got to kill somebody popular.
Right.
Yeah.
So you kill your scumbag uncle that no one
Everybody
cares
just
about.
Says, bravo.
Yeah.
Versus, oh my God.
So it upset him to the point where he kept killing people. And record book says he murdered 8. He says 21. Until I can interview him otherwise, I'm going with the 8. Billy, you didn't kill 21 people. Get over it.
Yeah, and probably most of the gunslingers, most of the gunfighters were every bit the piles of scum that Billy the Kid was. I mean, I think that is the more typical, as detectives will say, the profile, the personality profile of your average Western gunslinger.
Now, do you think in the afterlife some of these gunslingers are kicking his ass for lying about what they did, about what he did? I mean, Jesse James and all of them are sitting up there with Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, who were actually brutal killers, sitting there going, "Kid, you aren't fit enough to wipe my boots."
Well, that's what he's doing. He's wiping Jesse James's and Wild Bill Hickok's boots in the afterlife.
I always thought that would be a very cool video game. If you know how they have all these Mortal Kombat stuff out there, yeah, that's great. What if they took a Mortal Kombat style game and had like a Western 6-shooter? You had, and someone's going to rip me off, and I know this is going to end up, I probably shouldn't have said this out loud, but you took 6 shooters from the past and you made a style of fighting game with those. We have Jesse James versus Billy the Kid and all this other stuff. It would probably be a pretty big hit. You probably have a big seller on that.
Might be all right.
Probably put his or luck and everything back into history, make the kids like it again. Never know.
It'd just make more kids killers.
Yeah, really. They're
They don't-
psychotic
I don't. No, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that they're not going to learn much history.
They don't
They're
need.
all they're going to concentrate is on the number of shots to be fired.
Yeah,
They don't
they'll be
need
like,
these
how quickly
guys.
Can I get the 6-shot reloaded?
They don't need these guys to do what they're doing because they've already forgotten about these guys and they're still doing it.
Oh, and I got a question for you too. Speaking of, you referred to 6 shooters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now the chambers, there were 6 chambers in an outlaw's gun,
Right.
A gunfighter's gun. Did any of them actually walk around with all 6 chambers loaded? I tend
At
to
all
doubt it.
times.
All
If,
6.
if you were a known villain of that notoriety, you probably walked away around with that at all times. Later years, there would be guns like Wild Bill, who had a Smith & Wesson, who was very popular for that gun and made its popularity with it. Had more than 6 shots. And, of course, some of these Westerns, they had also rifles with them, so they didn't really do the romantic into the street at sundown to shoot someone. They were more about standing up on top of a roof with a repeater and plunking you with that rifle versus the 6-shot. But it was the way of the West to have not only just outlaws, but cowboys, ranchers. That gun was always loaded on your side.
Right, always loaded, but what I'm saying is that if you keep all 6 chambers loaded and that gun is at your hip, you're more liable to blow off your ankle than in other words, if I'm saying
Now there's an invention that everybody's thinking right now that the 6-shot is set up like the Civil War one where it's got the caps on it. And it did for Jesse James, but an invention would come around that would cover that.
Okay.
And would stop the gun from firing off inside your hip and blowing your toes off. That doesn't say it didn't happen, but it was safer to have that gun loaded and on your side than not. Because not only are you dealing with scumbags like Billy the Kid, you're dealing with angry Apache Indians because you're on their territory, other angry tribes and at that time you're dealing with angry Mormons that moved out there and didn't want you there because they wanted to get away from the Americans' war, and all of a sudden we're on their property. So the West was violent. So if you didn't have some sort of way of protecting yourself or didn't know how to outrun these guys or to avoid them, eventually, the old saying goes, you were up on Boot Hill pushing up daisies.
Well, even the women of the brothels always had weapons on them, either knives or the small guns.
Well, they had the cute little single shots, right?
Yeah.
Single shot, but
There
it
it
only
is.
takes one.
Yep.
And let me tell you, man, sometimes I wish the Americans of today would ball up and get the courage and bring back the Americans of yesterday. because now in the eyes of the public, what they did back then was great, but now we are cowards. And that was not the way.
Now our gunfighters shoot kids instead of grown-ups.
Yeah, and that was not the flipping way back then. I mean, we could go into another subject about this another day. Or, you know what, I'll put something up there, blog it. I haven't done that in a while. But before we head out, Nurse Misery's got some important news coming up on Chuckles Crypt.
We do. We'll start from the most further out conventions and work our way in. So you can't forget about Rhode Island Comic-Con, November 6th, 7th, and 8th. I mean, that's going to be a huge deal, and we want you all to be there and come say hi, not only to the Chuckles and Laugh show, but to the Rhode Island Free Radio table as well. Then we also have a fresh gig that literally just happened, like, yesterday. On September 12th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the North Kingston Animal Shelter, there is going to be an open house and family fun day.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Randomly, this lovely woman asked us if we would face paint. So there will be face painting and balloon animals.
And this is your one time, folks, to come down and get a picture with me with semi-happy clown on me. So if those that wanted that done, this is the one time you're going to see it. Probably not the last, but be the first. Come see me get pictures of me with without the teeth hanging out the lips.
This shelter is located at 395 Hamilton Allenton Road. Like I can read this from so far away from my face. Lovely me. North Kingston, Rhode Island. And sounds like it's gonna be a really nice day. They're gonna have a lot of other people there. There's going to be grooming offered, nail clippings for the animals. Yes, bring your Dannies. Get your Dannies bathed, people. It is a pet-friendly event. There's going to be pony ride, shelter tours, and a special visit from the Rhode Island State Police and Canine. So,
I shouldn't be there.
And there's even going to be a bouncy house. So Chuckles, no moonsaults in the bounce house.
Can't promise that when the cops are chasing us. Now, coming up this weekend.
Yes,
Labor Day weekend.
This
Excited.
weekend is going to be the Rhode Island Free Radio anniversary party for our 1-year celebration, people. September 5th, 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. Sorry. Firehouse 13, 41 Central Street, Providence, Rhode Island. There is going to be food provided by Outlaw Barbecue, a 50-50 raffle. Chuckles the Clown will be emceeing. The bands will be, I can say them this time, the Nymphadels, the Sugar Cones, Whiskey Fire, John Tierney, and Chris Hansen.
It only took you 3 shows to be able to say that. Bravo.
Hey, this time the ones that were booked I can pronounce.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and ghouls, this is the time I hate to say, but stay tuned in, because coming up next is the Haunted Cabaret. And if you missed any of this, well, look it up, RhodeIslandFreeRadio.org. It'll be up there. Let's wrap things up with one of my favorite country singers, and I do have him, Johnny Cash. The Man Comes Around.
And I heard, as it were, the noise of thunder. One of the 4 beasts saying, "Come and see." And I saw, and behold, a white horse. There's a man going round taking names, and he decides who to free and who to blame. Everybody won't be treated all the same. There'll be a golden ladder reaching down when the man comes around. The hairs on your arm will stand up at the terror in each sip and in each sup.